San Antonio local organizing committee.
Thanks, Leroy. As Leroy said, we're just about 68 days away from San Antonio hosting its 5th Men's Final Four. The national semifinals will tip off on Saturday, April 5th, and the national championship game will be on Monday, April 7th. But the community events will get started on Friday, April 4th. But for San Antonio sports and SALOC, this celebration has been a long time hosting the Men's Final Four that year. In fact, this is our 8th Final Four in San Antonio, 5 men's and 3 women's, and 1 more on the way in 2029. We're incredibly honored that the NCAA continues to entrust us with the crown jewel of college athletics, the Men's Final Four. Since then, we have been hard at work for visiting teams, media, alumni, fans, NCAA corporate champions and partners, as well as San Antonians and our Texans visiting from all over the state. And that's what we promise you can expect. In San Antonio, we talk about one team. Every entity working together to deliver an exemplary experience. I'd like to take a minute to recognize some of our important members here today. First is our #1 volunteer, our chair of SALOC, Pat Frost. Pat is celebrating his 25th year as chair of SALOC. I'd also like to recognize our executive committee members here today, Lori Houston and Lisa Campos from UTSA. And the presidents of our 2 Division I universities here, Dr. Evans from UTSA, or from UIW, I'm sorry. And then I know that Taylor Amy was unable to be here today, but he has been involved every step of the way as well. And most importantly, I'd like to thank one of the biggest groups of our one team, and that is our more than 2,500 volunteers who will be incredible ambassadors to make sure the Final Four is its best ever. Now, I always say the Men's Final Four is much more than a basketball tournament. It is a 4-day community celebration with something for everyone. And through legacy initiatives that has brought us to this site today, the impact of the Final Four will be felt in San Antonio long after the national champion is crowned. Speakers today will describe each of these components that make the Men's Final Four a larger-than-life event. One important initiative, and near and dear to my heart, is Read to the Final Four. It is a free reading contest to inspire San Antonio area 3rd graders to accelerate their reading skills and increase academic achievement in a bracket-style competition, much like the March Madness bracket. The champion school and readers will be announced on Friday, April 4th, inside of FanFest, and the winning school will receive $5,000 towards a library makeover for their school. Now, we kicked off the program at the start of the college basketball season, and as of this month, we have 27,210 San Antonio 3rd graders that are participating from 31 school districts and 304 schools. Now, collectively, and I have a note scratched out here because this has changed in the last couple of days, they have read more than 17.5 million minutes. We're delighted to have students from Gillette Elementary, from right here in Harlandale District, with us today. They're sitting right up here. They made the round of 68, and I bet they're on pins and needles because tomorrow we'll be announcing the top 32 schools that are going to make it into the next round. So let's wish them luck. All right. Now, you will notice that many of us are wearing sneakers today. It's not just because the Final Four is about 68 days away. We are recognizing that National Association of Basketball Coaches Coaches versus Cancer Initiative and Suits and Sneakers Week. So you'll hear more about that later. We will use a panel format for today's event. For media here today, we will have speakers available for one-on-ones. At the conclusion of the press conference, Mary Jaffet is in the back of the room, so you can find her afterwards for that. And now it is my pleasure to welcome our San Antonio City Councilwoman representing this District 3 neighborhood, Phyllis Viagran.
South and the southeast side of San Antonio. Welcome also to County Commission 1, correct, Rebecca? And let's give a round of applause for Rebecca. I do not see them in the room, but this is the Harlandale Independent School District, and you met the students already from Gillette, so let's give a round of applause for Harlandale from the students. I can't wait to welcome the student athletes and their fans to 2025 Men's Final Four in April. Last time they were here, I was with Visit San Antonio as an employee. Now I'm on the Visit San Antonio board, and we are really excited that they are back because last time the Final Four was here, it was a party, and it was been the road to San Antonio. It has been on top of the mind of our Division I teams focused on it. And while I am hoping Texas Tech will be here because that was my alma mater, I know that the competition is difficult. So we're excited to welcome the world. And yes, NCAA men's and women's basketball has fans across the globe. And we want them to come to the Alamo City where they are here in person and watching on television and just feeling that San Antonio vibe that only San Antonio has. And it is going to be an incredible opportunity for us to highlight our hospitality industry, which is critical to our San Antonio economy. This year's Final Four is projected to deliver more than $440 million in economic impact to our community. Almost every City of San Antonio department, from our first responders to our staff at the Alamo, is engaged in delivering a successful Final Four, and I am sure some of them will be some of the volunteers for the events. As you'll learn today, this Final Four is a true gift to our local citizens, especially to our children, for the Read to the Final Four program that Elena mentioned. The legacy project that is here is Rayburn, as we have pivoted because we had to resize schools. We are still using the buildings and we're still making sure the kids are getting service. So I can't wait for the children at the Rayburn Clubhouse, and thank you Boys and Girls Club for being here and doing your part, to utilize this beautiful newly remodeled gym and families from across the district to enjoy this spectacular Rayburn Clubhouse school park outside. It truly will leave a legacy project, getting people outdoors. I know it doesn't feel like it today because it's rainy, but this is not San Antonio most of the days. So we're going to just really appreciate this, and we want to welcome you. And I'm grateful for San Antonio's opportunity to host this 2025 Men's Final Four. I look to the future so we can have you here again and host more. And I can't wait to see you in April. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Viagran. And now to explain more about the remarkable legacy project, please welcome the President and CEO of San Antonio Sports, Jim Collins.
68 days. Oh my goodness. When Elena took this job on 2 years ago, I gifted her my countdown clock that sat in my office leading up to the 2018 Final Four. And it's become a running joke that we can't go to a meeting, a presentation, anything without giving the countdown day. And we've been doing that for 2 years. But 68 is not my number. 2,388 is my number, and Elena mentioned it earlier, but that is how many days it's been since we were awarded the 2025 Final Four in the summer of 2018, right after we hosted. And you can probably add on 300 days to that, right, Pat? Because Pat and I started fundraising for that bid about a year prior. 5 Final Fours. This has just been my life for the last 25 years, and I'm so excited to get to do this again with so many wonderful people. And I know that probably 90% of all of you in this gym know what a basketball junkie I am, and how much I love this sport, and how much I love to watch this sport. But it's not the games that really mean so much to me. It's the community impact that aligns with what San Antonio Sports' mission is every day, transforming the city through the power of sport. Healthy kids and families, places to play, and events that impact, like the Final Four. And why we're here today is to talk about this project. But before I get there, I've got to back up. Y'all watched the video a minute ago, and we saw the dribble. The Buick Final Four dribble. We will give out 3,000 basketballs, free basketballs, to kids from all over the city. And this is my takeaway when I think about that event. There's going to be some kid, and it might just be one, could be 100. There's going to be one kid that takes home a basketball, and it's going to change the journey and their life. I was that kid that a coach gave me a basketball. When I was in kindergarten, he was the boys' varsity basketball coach in my hometown, and I was the only girl in his summer camp, and he sent me home with a brand new leather indoor basketball, and it changed my life. I used that basketball every single day. I shot, I practiced with that basketball, and when I signed my letter of intent to play college basketball, I had that ball with me. And for the next 10 years, I took that basketball everywhere with me when I presented and talked to young girls about the power of sport. There's going to be a kid that event will change their life. 2, read to the Final Four. I have been a part of this event in San Antonio since day one. I was a volunteer when I was in college for our very first Final Four in 1998. And to be able to do this for the 5th time, and 3 women's Final Fours, and 2 volleyball Final Fours, with 2 more on the calendar, I never thought I would get to do this with a kid of my own in the 3rd grade. And Joanne and Dan and Pat are probably tired of me texting them at midnight about how important Read to the Final Four is to my daughter. And Elena talked about it a minute ago. Tomorrow, we will go from 68 schools to 32, and I'm telling you, this program works. My 9-year-old is homesick today. She was homesick yesterday, but she made me call the school at 7 a.m. yesterday to turn in her minutes that she read over the weekend. And I think she's sick because she had 2 basketball games on Saturday and just balled out. So, but we had to turn in our minutes, and that's how important that program is, and to be able to live that through her has been incredible. Lastly, we are here at Rayburn with my good friend Ada Sines, who runs the Boys and Girls Club, and this is why this is important. San Antonio School Parks program was a vision of my former boss, Dr. Susan Blackwood, and one of our founding members, George Block, who recognized that in San Antonio, we are lacking in sports and recreational facilities. But what they saw was, what do we have as a resource in San Antonio? And that's a school within walking distance of every citizen in this county, in this city. And we can go into elementary schools and facilities and improve them, enhance them, add amenities to them, and then in turn make them neighborhood parks so school districts could keep the gates open after school hours, and every citizen in San Antonio will have a place to come to, work out, walk, do something physical. What makes this project so special, and we did this in 2021, during the 2021, we did it again with the Boys and Girls Club at MLK. We did one in 2018. This project will mark our 40th school park for San Antonio sports. And it would not be possible possible without the partnership between the City of San Antonio through Parks and Recreation, our many school district partners, and the John L. Santikos Charitable Foundation that has helped fund 40 parks. And then, of course, with our partnership with the NCAA, we can't wait to be back here to dedicate this gym, outside amenities, and everything that this will bring to the boys and girls that come to the Boys and Girls Club here. And we will do that the week of the Final Four. And that is why I show up every day for this job. It's not the games. I love the games. But it's the community impact that really makes a huge difference. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting the Final Four, what it means to San Antonio. And with Dan's help, we're going to keep bringing this back, right?
Now please welcome the CEO of the San Antonio Boys and Girls Club, Ada Simons.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Boys and Girls Club's Rayburn Clubhouse. We are so delighted to have everyone here in this beautiful space today. As CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs, I must give a heartfelt thank you to the NCAA and the San Antonio Sports School Park Program for choosing our Rayburn Clubhouse as its 2025 NCAA Final Four Legacy Project by Dove Men Plus Care. And as Jenny was saying, this is our second legacy project. The first one was in 2021 at our Eastside Clubhouse. It's an absolutely beautiful space for our club kids to play in after school, during the summer, whenever school is out. It's a safe place for them to come and be together. But then it's also for the community as well. So when our clubs are closed, the entire community is welcome to come in and utilize the beautiful space. So the property that you're on right now, as they mentioned, it is a Harlandale school site that was closed. It was recently an elementary school, and we've had a long-standing partner with Harlandale. Harlandale really shows up for its community and for its family, and for its families. And thank you. I'm a little short, and I'm used to wearing heels. This is my first time wearing sneakers with the suit, so I feel very. And so we love our partnership with Harlandale, and to be able to serve this community in a meaningful way. No Harlandale student is charged any money to come to the clubhouse here at Rayburn, and it's a safe place for them to come when school is out. But beyond being a safe place, they have access to resources that are typically extremely expensive and very limited sometimes in certain areas of our city. So when they come here, not only are they getting warm meals, they get opportunities to engage in intramural leagues throughout the city. We have tutoring, that's professional tutoring to make sure that they're doing their very best in school. And we also have professional counseling for students as well. So access to the support services that they need to do their very best in school, graduate high school on time, and have a very successful and meaningful future ahead of them. This project has already transformed this gym. It was previously used as a storage, so this is way better already. And now it's going to be a space for the kids in the community to enjoy for many, many years to come. In addition, we are receiving a brand new HVAC system and also the beautiful new court. It'll make a space for the kids to use year-round, every single year. I'd also like to thank the NCAA for being so generous. They've come so many times. We're so proud to be a part of this partnership 2 years in a row, and please keep it coming. We have several other clubhouses throughout the city. We'd love to have a third one when you come next time. But truly, honestly, thank you so much. We are very excited and we are very grateful, and we welcome you all back to reveal here at the Rayburn Clubhouse. Thank you so much.
also couldn't leave you up there doing calf exercises. I had to say that. I had to say that. Thank you, Ada, for that. And before we move on, I just want to also congratulate the kids. I know I struggled to find a minute of reading a day. It's 17.5 million minutes. That is unreal. Yeah, thank you, Ada. We can't wait for the big reveal on April 3rd. Now, let me introduce our panelists who are here to share the scoop on everything our community can expect during the Final Four. Please welcome Dan Gavitt, the NCAA Senior Vice President of Basketball. Joanne Scott, the NCAA Vice President of Men's Basketball Championships. Eric Walsh, the San Antonio City Manager. San Antonio Local Organizing Committee Executive Director. Now again, I want to reiterate, this is a conversation. So feel free to chime in no matter where the question is directed. And then we'll start with you. What is it about San Antonio? And I asked this question myself when I heard that you all returning again this year. I've been here 6 years. It feels like every year that San Antonio has hosted a Final Four. What is it about the city of San Antonio that makes it a regular when it comes to hosting the men's Final Four?
Well, Leroy, it's really the experience. Men's Final Fours and now the fifth. Of course, great weather in April, as has been promised. Incredible hospitality, very well. The River Walk, of course, and then Final Four to be held, and very much want to have one in San Antonio. Kentucky, UConn, Kansas, and Villanova have all won at least 3 national championships. So really great basketball history here. The local culture and the heritage of San Antonio makes it a very unique experience that we can't wait to bring back here in April.
And you've spoken to the long history of the Final Four being here in the San Antonio, but also the state of Texas. And you've been to previous Final Fours. What can you tell us about?
I've been fortunate to be here at the other Final Fours, but I think more so than my personal experience, one of the things that we do after every Final Four is to visit the 4 participating schools, go to their campus, talk to their chancellor, their president, athletic director, head coach, student athletes, bands, cheer, and ask them directly to give us feedback about their experience. And each time we have done that, coming out of San Antonio, the feedback has been incredibly positive. The experience is second to none, and so we know from the folks that are most important in this event, the student athletes, the teams, the institutions, that their experience in San Antonio is first class. And that's one of the reasons why the committee has continued to come back to San Antonio, because we know that it's always going to be a memorable experience and a first-class experience.
Joanne, jumping to you here, so much is happening around the games. What can community members and visitors to the city expect to experience during the Final Four games?
So I'm going to start something about the game that's going to be a little breaking news today. So I'll start there, and then I'll go to the community, because we do want to highlight this today. At the championship game on Monday night, we have announced a new tip time. That tip time will be 8:50 Eastern, 7:50 local, which is 30 minutes earlier than normal. So that news is breaking today, and I wanted you all to know, for those who are holding tickets or for the community, that tip time on the championship Monday has moved up. And that game will be on CBS. So, for the community, we always say no ticket, no problem, if you don't have a game ticket, all right? Because what really the weekend is about is the community and the surrounding communities of San Antonio. As you saw in the video, there will be the Fan Fest presented by Capital One. There are celebrities, there are former players that might have played in a Final Four here before that do autograph signings. It's for all ages. It's a lot of interactives. That will be at the Henry V. Gonzalez Convention Center. It's open Friday through Monday, the 4th through the 7th. So that is a great event for families and for kids as well. Next is the Reese's Final Four Friday. Again, if you want to go to the Alamo Dome and experience and see the teams, as Jenny says, if you're a basketball fanatic, you can go watch the basketball practices for free on Friday at the Reese's Final Four Friday, followed by the NABC All-Star Game. So that will be on Friday. Say the dribble, the men's Final Four dribble presented by Buick will be Sunday. Imagine, as Jenny said, 3,000 kids with their Buick t-shirts and their basketballs dribbling through downtown. Everyone that participates will be given access with to the Final Four Fan Fest presented by Capital One. So, and registration, I believe, is open today, or is open, and it is limited registration. So make sure that you do register for that. And then the last one that I need right now is the tip-off tailgate presented by Nissan. This is new. I think this is probably what you're going to see a little different from 2018. It's going to be in Civic Park. And we're going to have music. We're going to have watch parties. If you have a team of basketball players, you want to come down and watch the men's and women's Final Four games, you can watch it from there. We'll have interactive games. We'll have food and beverage and all the like. So a lot of things for the local community to come down.
From April 4th to the 7th. What can you, from your perspective, what does it mean for the city of San Antonio to host the men's Final Four?
Well, I think you, Councilwoman Ron and Elena talked a little bit about it. It's the impact of having this international event in San Antonio, and not just from an international standpoint and a basketball fan standpoint, but how it's integrated with the community. And Jenny talked a little bit about that. These types of events are huge momentum makers for the community, and I think that's a really good thing for us. It's also an opportunity, as Councilwoman Ron mentioned, to showcase and highlight San Antonio, our culture, but the people and the hospitality, and you know, I'll echo what Elena said at the beginning, because I think it applies to a lot of things we do here locally. The one team effort, and there are a lot of folks that have been working really hard to make sure that April is a huge success, certainly not only for the NCAA and the teams, but also for the community. So it's a huge effort and really exciting to be able to highlight.
I'm glad you mentioned the collective effort behind this. I think as community members and as attendees, sometimes you don't see the folks behind the scenes who are making these amazing events possible. So could you share just a bit about how your department is involved in the planning and implementation process of hosting this event?
Well, it's probably easier to share who's not involved. I mean, it's everybody. I mean, I see, I'm looking around the room, there are a lot of folks here that are part of our 13,000 employee organization that are all pulling together to be able to host, along with Elena and her team, the donors, the sponsors, the NCAA. We want to make sure that, Dan and I were walking over here, and I was telling them, I think we've had 2 cold fronts, we have 1 more, and then winter's over. And hopefully I didn't jinx it just now. But the weather will be great. We're looking forward to so hotel rooms have a pedestrian-friendly path to the Alamo Dome. You know, a lot of departments, the police department, the Alamo Dome, Steve Zito, Patricia Muskis, Robert Wren with downtown, Jennifer Fraga. I mean, there are so many people involved in making sure that it'll go off without a hitch. But regardless of what happens, making sure that we're all prepared and working closely with Elena and her team and everybody else to make sure that it's a safe, friendly, great environment for the public.
I do want to add to that, too. Since June, every month, hundreds of people from across the city, UTSA, UIW, we've all been getting together with the NCAA and their planning partners to make sure that every detail is planned. So, and it really stretches across the city. We have communities like the one, or committees like the one that Leroy serves on, of community members that are volunteering their time to make sure that this goes off without a hitch. In addition to closing streets and making pedestrian-friendly walkways through downtown, we're also working through how do we get our residents of San Antonio downtown and make it accessible for them, because that's really important. So I know when you all walked in, there was a Via bus outside. It's wrapped with Final Four. Those will be driving around the city, but we'll work with them on park and ride locations, on helping our volunteers get to their stations they'll be able to take via routes. We'll work with rideshare and all of the other kind of transportation companies that will help make that possible. We want everyone to come into downtown and really see what the NCAA and what the city has been working so hard on.
Dan and Joanne, I want to come to you both. So, one of everyone's favorite events associated with the men's Final Four is the NCAA March Madness Music Festival. Last year, Tim McGraw was here. What can you tell us about this year's music festival?
Well, no breaking news today, so
Pass the
not
mic.
on that one anyway.
Pass the mic.
So, thanks to AT&T, Capital One, and Coca-Cola, the March Madness Music Festival even reaches a new fan, which is a music fan. It's going to be held, and I'm going to say it wrong.
So it's at Tower
Park
and Hemisphere.
at Hemisphere. Sorry, I know that's recently changed, but it's going to be at Tower Park at Hemisphere. It's a free music festival as well. I would say in the past, and I think in 18, we had Jason Aldean, we've had Maroon 5, we've had Imagine Dragons. So stay tuned. We will announce that talent in the upcoming months before we get here, but unfortunately, no breaking news on that one today.
I've asked folks.
You won't push. You won't.
We don't know.
Dan, for you, I heard that your team actually gets to be a part, a few members of your staff get to be a part of the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee each year. What is that process like?
And the Women's Basketball Committee and the work that they do in selecting, seeding, and bracketing the field of 68. We don't make any decisions. We don't have any votes in the process, but we're there to help facilitate and support their efforts. Bubba Cunningham, the athletic director at North Carolina, is this year's chair of the Men's Basketball Committee. And really, their work starts the very first day of the basketball games to evaluate teams for inclusion in the tournament. Ultimately, it leads to the selection meeting, which will take place in the second week of March in Indianapolis, where they do choose this year 37 at-large teams, together with 32 automatic qualifiers, 31, to make the 68-team field. They've got all sorts of metrics and analytics at their disposal, but it does require an awful lot of watching basketball games and the twists and turns that come during the season. Even last night, if you're up late, there were two incredible games last night that kind of, remind us of why March Madness is so special. Duke, with probably the best player in the country, and Cooper Flagg, certainly the freshman of the year, was challenged by North Carolina State, who was last year's Cinderella team in the Final Four, and had a heroic effort at Cameron to beat NC State. Duke, a potential #1 seed, if they keep playing the way they are. And then in the late game in Tucson, Arizona, Caleb Love hit a half-court shot at the buzzer to take Arizona into overtime with the #3 ranked team in the country, Iowa State, and they ended up beating them in overtime. So just another example of why March Madness is so special, and the difficult job that the committees have in selecting, seeding, and bracketing these teams. We were here in 18, Villanova won, but Loyola was here also. I think no one predicted Loyola would be here with Sister Jean, but that's what makes March Madness so special, the unpredictability of it all.
I want to add, my 5th grader last night, he was talking about how he wanted to pick the Final Four teams, and he felt like he could, and I was trying to explain the odds of that happening, and he couldn't get it through his head. And so we're happy the NCAA also has a program that we haven't mentioned here. It's the March Madness Syllabus Challenge, and that is for 5th graders across the city, so that's been shared with schools. So I'm happy for that, so that he can learn that, and don't ask me those hard questions.
Eric, there's a lot going, a lot of free events for community members to come out and experience. Does it impact the experiences of attendees?
Progress is painful. So, yes, there's a lot of construction, and we're a growing city, and we're working through those areas to make sure that folks are able to go through unencumbered. a big city in this country. And managing our infrastructure and upgrading it, I like to think of it as a way of making sure and ensuring that we get future Final Fours with that investment downtown. And that's critical, and certainly is something that they'll remember, and something that is beneficial to the community.
Well, thank you for all the hard work.
It's also why I have gray hair.
Elena, you've been to other Final Fours, previous Final Fours, obviously here in San Antonio, but other cities as well. And we know San Antonio is the best city to host it. But could you talk to us about what's your favorite fan event that you've experienced?
It's tough to say because they're all so great. But I will say in 2018, the last time we did this, my kids were 2 and 4 years old. So they didn't really have a concept of what was going on. And now they're 9 and 11 and they're sports fans. So we watch sports 24/7 in our house. And so I'm really looking forward to them experiencing FanFest and really being able to enjoy that because it is really interactive and something for everyone. And then outside of that, Jenny described it so well. The image of some kids dribbling through the streets of San Antonio is just amazing. And it's an amazing feat. And it takes public safety and a lot of volunteers and a whole inflation process to inflate 3,000 basketballs. And that might be my favorite part, just watching that all happen. But I'm looking forward to having them actually dribble this time around. Last time I had a period.
And Joanna, I want to wrap us up with this question for you. We know the NCAA is supportive of huge initiatives, many different causes. We're all wearing sneakers and suits today. So could you tell us why this is important, the significance of the sneakers and the suits with us all here today?
Yes, again, aligning with the National Association of Basketball Coaches, who, by the way, have their convention here during the Final Four as well. So you'll see all kinds of head coaches walking around your lovely city. They've had this program in place, I think this may be the 30th or more year, or 31st year of celebrating Suits and Sneakers Week. Now, prior to COVID, you probably saw them wearing all suits, and then they would wear their fancy sneakers. A lot of them now gave up the suits after COVID, but you'll see a lot of sneakers on the sidelines this week. So again, in conjunction with the NABC, just aligning with their educational program to teach young folks, cancer prevention, early screenings, and early detection. So we celebrate that with this press conference in our own sneakers and suits.
I know you're trying to wrap up, but one thing that I wanted to mention is that this is a great event, and this is important for the NCAA, it's important for the schools, it's important for the community. But I think it's important to recognize Dr. Evans and the University of Incarnate and Dr. Amy with UTSA, because without them, we wouldn't be on the podium. Without those schools and that partnership, and I think it's important that all of us remember, and I think it's, as we go through and wonder why we have Final Fours, it's because of those two institutions and the work they're doing in the NCAA that make that possible. And that's important to remember, I think, as we go forward.
I would like to thank all four of you, Dan and Joanne, for entrusting the city of San Antonio with the Final Four. Eric, for all of the great work that you and your team are doing to prepare the city for the Final Four, and of course, Elena, the amazing work you're doing through the San Antonio Local Organizing Committee. Just want to thank you all, and I'm super excited for this event. I know that you all are. And before we wrap up, I would like to remind everyone about the 2025 Men's Final Four events, which you can see on the screen here, on either screen actually. There are 2 ways to get involved today. The first, 1,500 people to go on ncaa.com/MFF and use the code TIPOFF25. Will get free tickets to the Men's Final Four Fan Fest presented by Capital One. Again, that's ncaa.com/MFF and use the code TIPOFF25. Registration opens today for the men's Final Four dribble presented by Buick for kids 18 and younger. Dang, I missed it by a year. There are only 3,000 spots available, so go to ncaa.com/MFF to register for free. Again, only 3,000 spots available, ncaa.com/MFF to register for free. And we want to thank the NCAA and its corporate champions and partners and our local supporters. Thanks to Unilever, the Boys and Girls Clubs of San Antonio Sports for their collaboration on the NCAA Men's Final Four Legacy Project, presented by Dove Men Plus Care. We will gather here again the week of the games to unveil the project, and I can't wait to see what the final result looks like. And for the media, thank you for attending today's event. Speakers will be available for one-on-one interviews. Please see Mary Jaffet right there waving her hand, and or Carolyn Weed for an interview request with the speakers. Again, I would like to thank all of our speakers, and please stay here so we can grab a group photo, get lost. And that concludes our program. Thank you for the support of the 2025 Men's Final Four.
Yes, Mike knows where to find me. Okay, I totally want to use them. Anytime I can bring you IW in, I always do. Okay, come on. So, okay. And I know there were some UTSA cheerleaders. I kind of don't want to leave them out, but if we don't, we don't. So it's fine. Wasn't there one or something like that? So we're just using y'all in the background. We're going to interview somebody with the NCAA, but y'all are just going to be pretty in the background, do your thing. She's finding who I'm interviewing. Oh, there's Mary. Okay. We just got to find her. Come on over here. Okay, stay right there. I'm gonna get her. Mary. Hey, Mary. Hi. How are you? Good.
How's life?
Good. How do you stand with me? Hey, Mary, I got the cheerleaders in the corner right there. Whenever you're ready. Okay. Yeah, I got them here. Is that one you want to do? Yeah, sure. I just got them in the background. Okay. Yeah, I just had you all set up. She's gonna bring him to us. She's gonna bring him to us. He's gonna do it. Oh, geez. Okay. Well, hang on. Let me get my camera too. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, I've got it right here. I've got it right here. Please be careful. Oh, jeez. Okay. Just tell me when you want me to go. Okay. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Okay. 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 I'm like, it's good. It's actually good ground. It reminds me of me back in my day, long time ago. Long time ago. Okay. So Mary's gonna. I think I'm interviewing that.